Growing Dreams Homestead, and today I'm going to be making my Calendula, Plantain, and Comfrey into a salve. So this has been sitting in oil for a little bit over 6 weeks. When we started, it was whole flowers and whole leaves, and it gets shaken every day, and now it is infused with all the goodness from these medicinal plants, and we're going to make a salve. So I'll show you how to do that. So what you will need is a saucepan, a strainer, I have some old t-shirt, and I will strain that through there. Then we have coconut oil and beeswax. Of course, I'm going to need some jars, and I am going to whip it for a little bit so it can make it a little bit fluffier and a little bit nicer to put on the skin. So here we go. So first I will put my old shirt into the strainer, and I'm going to pour in my oil slowly so it doesn't make a huge mess. Let that drain down a little bit. So it is really, really cold here today. It's -9. The wind chill is like -30. We went out earlier and checked on the chickens, and we were not out there very long, and it was cold. My cheeks were hurting. I should have wrapped my face up, but I didn't. Silly me. But the chickens did well. We did put tarps around the coop to keep the wind out. They seem to be okay. We do have our 3 female cats in the house. Our boy cat must be out hunting somewhere because I can't find him. I keep checking to see if he comes home. We're going to bring him in, but I guess he is doing well wherever he is because he hasn't came home, but that's kind of typical. He goes out sometimes for days at a time. He'll come home, you know, bring something with him, or be all banged up from fighting other cats. So, you know, it's just what tomcats do out in the country. So I have all of that in there. I will bring the camera over. So there's my flowers, my comfrey and plantain soaked in the oil. So I'm going to let that oil run out. And then I'm also going to fold up this t-shirt. Kind of just let that drain through that metal strainer. This is actually like really simple, like anybody could do this. If you don't have calendula and comfrey, you could always do this with just plantain, and it grows in everybody's yard. I mean, it is everywhere. I did a video before this showing me collecting this stuff, so if you want to watch that, you can see, you know, what these different herbs look like in their environment, you know, before the freeze, of course. None of this stuff is around right now. So I'm just squeezing all that goodness out of there into my pan. So this salve that we're going to make, it is very medicinal. It is antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's really good for skin conditions. I'm just going to sit this in my sink for now. So this will be really nice for skincare, especially in the winter. So I have my infused oil in there, and I just use extra virgin olive oil. You don't need really fancy things to do this. Anybody can do this. I am going to add some coconut oil as well. This is brand new. You can use other oils. You can use avocado oil or grapeseed oil, you know, things like that. But I just use regular extra virgin olive oil. So, and And this isn't something like I really measure. It's kind of like how you feel about what you want your consistency to be of your salve. So I'm just going to put a couple spoons of coconut oil in here. And I have the heat on. I'm not going to turn it up real hot because it just needs to all melt together. So that's probably good on that. So I'm going to let this melt. And I'm also going to be adding some beeswax. So the beeswax just helps to thicken up your salve. So I have this 100% natural beeswax here. I just got this at like Hobby Lobby. If you know a local beekeeper and can get some beeswax from them, that would be preferred. So, you know, local and natural and you know, from a small farmer is always better than from the store, but this is what I have, so this is what I'll be using. So I am heating this up. Get that coconut oil melting. I am going to get a measuring cup for the beeswax. I don't want a whole lot of beeswax or it'll get hard, almost like a candle, and then you got to really scrape it and warm it up to be able to use it, so we don't want too much. So there it is. A quarter of a cup. I'm going to do like a half a cup. I think that sounds like a good plan. Like I said, I don't really have a recipe, kind of one of those things you just throw together at the time. So we are excited for Christmas around here. We got 2 days. And the little guys hoping Santa brings them lots of presents, and our older kids will be home, and it'll be nice to have everybody here. I hope everybody else is excited for Christmas and staying warm. We definitely made sure we had the wood stocked up for this weekend. So bring the camera over. You can see the magic. So there's my oil and my beeswax is in there. So it might take a little while to melt. You don't have to cook it a long time. Once it melts, that's, you know, what you're trying to achieve. So it doesn't have to, you know, cook for a period of time or anything like that. So we're gonna let this melt, and then we'll start the next step. All right, so our beeswax is melted into the oil and it looks really good. So we are ready to move on to the next step. So here is the oil, and then you can see in the spoon where it started to cool, it's a really nice consistency. It absorbs into the skin really well. So that's what we were shooting for, and that's what we got. So that's awesome. If you see yours is cooling in the spoon and it is a little bit too liquidy, you can always add a little bit more beeswax. I am gonna whip, I think, half of it. So I have a friend who whipped hers and it was really nice and fluffy. I also like it too, kind of like a thicker salve for, you know, scrapes and cuts. So I'm gonna put half in a jar, not mixed, and then we're gonna whip the other half for the other jar. So let me get my little funnel. Should have had this out. Okay, so I'm gonna put about half of it in here. And I'm making a mess. Don't make a mess. I probably should have just ladled that in. Oh well, that's okay. Clean that up. other half we will put into the KitchenAid. So normally, you know, if I'm making stuff like this, I don't really worry about using things I cook with because all these things are natural. I can wash them really well and it's not going to leave any kind of residue or anything if I get them, you know, good and clean and sterilized. So we are going to put this oil into the KitchenAid, and I do have my whisk attachment on there. A friend of mine gave me this KitchenAid, and I just love it. I use it so much. I use it for making bread, cookies, like everything. Like I use it all the time. So I'm so thankful that she gave this to me. So we're just gonna whip this for a little while and add some air into it, get it fluffy so that it'll be really nice for the skin, like a lotion. So here we go. So this has been whipping off and on for about a half an hour now, and it's starting to cool. So I would like let it whip for about 10 minutes and then turn it off, let it cool a little bit, and then whip it again. So this is where we are, about a half an hour in. So we're gonna just let this go a little longer, cool down some more so it's less liquidy, and hopefully we'll get a nice fluffy consistency. So our salve has been whipping now for about an hour off and on, so I'll whip it for about 10 minutes, turn it off for about 10 minutes, and it's getting to a lotiony consistency, which is what I was going for. So I will show you what that looks like. So it is pretty nice. So see that? It's a little thinner than a lotion, but it's still kind of warm, so when it sets up, I think it's going to be just perfect. Now that our salve is whipped into a lotion consistency, I am going to put it into this jar. I do have a rubber spatula if I need to scrape some out. So there we go. So I have one that is more of a lotion and one that's kind of like almost like a Neosporin type consistency. So if you've ever been interested in herbal medicine, this is a really easy place to start. Like I said, you can do it with just plantain, which is a weed that grows in anybody's yard, a little bit of oil, a little bit of beeswax, and you'll be good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a Merry Christmas from our Homesteaders. Have a good one.